Richard, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's a really loud echo and some interference. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just trying to make sure we get this echo out. Okay, give me a second. This makes no sense. There's two of me. Okay, give me a second. It's all right. You're not going to win tonight. You're not going to win tonight. All right, give me a second. That's really weird. Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, still got a bit of an echo, but not as bad as before.
Okay. Now let's see how that works. Good gracious.
Perfect.
Hey y'all. Look, me and my country self. Hey y'all. If y'all give me a second, we can get started. Cause hey, yeah, it didn't want to let me be great tonight. Oh my goodness. What in the whole world do we have going on here? How are you, Richard?
I'm doing great, great, great. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so let's see. There we go. We got our chat on. Let me say hello to everyone. And we are here. Hi, guys. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. Let me make sure everybody else is on. We are not going to be defeated tonight. It's just not going to happen. So let's wait a minute here. Oh my goodness. You know what? This is crazy. Richard,
Yeah.
you gonna give some fire tonight because it does not want to let us be great. Oh my goodness. I cannot. Okay, so alrighty, one last thing. I cannot believe this is happening right now. I cannot. All right, so hello everyone and welcome to Talk Tuesday. It's your girl Tawana Lorraine. We are in the building and it's happening. Whether the enemy wants it to or not. Hello to all of our visitors streaming in. We have several pages going on tonight, and it is going to be astronomical in here because there's a lot of information that we want to get out tonight. Remember, if you are checking in with us on any other platform, if you are on Instagram, hello Instagram. If you are on YouTube, hello on YouTube. If you are on Clubhouse, hello Clubhouse. If you are on Facebook, hello Facebook. We have Mr. Richard Ham. Mr. Rich Ham.
All good, all good.
Who is going to come tonight and share some wisdom and understanding for us. I am so excited, Richard, for you to be here. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for just accepting this opportunity for us. I don't want my glasses to glare up here. Accepting this opportunity because it means so much, because there's so many people that do not have the knowledge that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. You have been very engaging in some of our lives over the last couple of weeks, and I really, really appreciate that. And then to find out, it's amazing what you find out that you don't know, but you don't know because you don't know. I come to find out that Richard has over 10 years of experience in this area. So Richard, why do I keep calling you Richard? I want to act like we have to go by government names here. But Rich, I'm going to ask you to just give a little background on you and your expertise, and we don't want to go into our juiciness just yet, but just a little bit of background. And if anyone is joining in new, you haven't been tuning in over the last couple of weeks, we are talking about trauma, healing, and purpose. Some of my guests have shared some really amazing stories on trauma, and some very good information on trauma, some information that people didn't know, some information that people don't know. And it's very vital that we get this message out, that we get this message across, because it's needed. When I went through some situations with trauma, I didn't know it was trauma. I just knew I was going through some things. So we have Richard here tonight, and I'm not going to stop calling you Richard. I apologize up front. But we have some information that's going to go forth tonight. So while Rich actually introduces himself and gives us a little background, grab your pen, grab your paper, share, because there's so many more people that need to hear this tonight. If you have not shared the live, share the live. Share the live, share the live. Okay, on you, Rich.
That part. Thank you. Yeah, share this live. So before I introduce myself, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come into this space and share and give back to, the community and the people that I care most
Absolutely.
about. And I also want to very purposefully thank the folks who have been on before me, who have shared their stories and giving intimate details about themselves and things that they've went through and struggled with. I really appreciate y'all for doing that. That really means a lot. And I know it can be hard to do that. And the fact that those folks were able to come on here and give of themselves in the way that they did to support others, really means a lot. And I just want to say thank you to those prior guests that you had as well. So yes, I am Rich Ham. I do want to say up front that I'm here on behalf of myself as an individual, not representing any other individuals, groups, organizations, anything like that. Just want to share some of my own personal experiences as well as relevant education around intimate partner violence, abuse, healthy relationships, things of that nature. of the past guests that you had, the prior guests that you've had, have shared a lot about things that they've went through. And one common denominator that I've heard in tuning into your shows is people are experiencing abuse, and that is a big form of trauma for people to be experiencing. So I thought that it would be a great opportunity to come on here and give a little bit more context and education around abuse and intimate partner violence. As you mentioned, I have well over 10 years of experience, as well as personal experience with domestic violence, as well as supporting folks who are experiencing it, family and friends, as well as supporting and trying to be a catalyst of change for folks who identify as abusive or are identified as abusive. So lots of things that, I want to share with you all so that you have the insight and the ability to recognize these things in yourself as well as others, and to be able to support, everyone having happy and healthy relationships. So that's why I'm here. And as you mentioned, share this video, lots of great information. One little tidbit I'm gonna throw out there just to incite folks to share this video is that 1 in 3 women experience intimate partner violence in their lives. 1 in 3 women. So that means, like, imagine all the people in the world, 1 out of 3 of those people have or are experiencing intimate partner violence and abuse. So share this video far and wide so that we can get this message to those people who need to hear it.
Absolutely. So everybody, do us a favor. We're going to stop right now, 30 seconds. This is very, very, very important. Share this on your news feed. Share this with someone that you know. Text it to someone. Share the link. We share a lot of things. And most of the time, those are things that we can do without sharing. This, we need to share. This we need to share. Everyone needs to be tuned in because this information is very, very important. And this could actually save someone's life. That's how serious it is, and that's how serious I am about it. There's going to be some information given out tonight that you can use to save someone's life. You will have knowledge of information either for yourself or for another person that you will be able to share with them that could possibly save their lives. So when you shared it, please comment shared. And then we're going to move on. We have about 10 more seconds, you guys. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Micaiah. Thank you for sharing, Janelle. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you guys. Okay. So, Rich, some of the things I guess we should first talk about, which kind of came up in some of the previous months' lives, of the types of abuse, because you are not surprised. Now I know you're not surprised, but there's so many people that don't know that there is more abuse than just physical abuse. There's more abuse than just the domestic violence, quote unquote. That's the most known physical abuse. So can you just share with us a little bit about the different types of abuse, what they are, and give, I guess, just a slight definition of each of them so that those that don't know what they are, they'll be able to understand.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so many different types of abuse. There are types of abuse that may not even be recognized. Some of the most common forms of abuse that are recognized are physical, of course. That's the absolute most recognized form of abuse, right? Then we have sexual abuse, sexual coercion. It can be making you feel guilty when you don't want to engage in sexual activities, or you know, don't want to do certain things like that. Of course, rape is rape. That would, you know, be considered a form of sexual abuse as well. With sexual abuse, one thing that kind of stands out and that I want to highlight is that, you know, folks feel like they're in a relationship. So it's kind of like an obligation, right? I'm with this person. I have to fulfill their sexual needs and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Individuals, we all have the right to say, no, we don't want to, anytime, any way, you know, and that's your right as an individual, whether
Absolutely.
you're or not. So when someone is trying to control that aspect, make you feel guilty, things like that, that is considered sexual abuse. It can also be
Mm-hmm.
related to reproduction and reproductive coercion, not allowing you to take your, you know, your medicine so that you don't get, I'm sorry, I just caught the comment. I see my name. Not allowing you to take like birth control, things like that, poking holes in condoms, that can be considered sexual abuse. Another form of abuse is digital abuse, which is really popular now. It's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different technologies that are advancing and things like that. Tracking your partner, going through their phone, demanding passwords, things like that. All be considered digital abuse. We also have financial abuse, right? So depending on what the boundaries are that you establish in your relationship, one person may very well be paying all the bills. That doesn't mean that it's financial abuse if it's what you agreed
Mm-hmm.
to together, you know, in that relationship. But if someone is forcing you to pay all the bills, taking all of your money, not allowing you to go get work, things like that, that can be considered financial abuse. And then, of course, just about every type of abuse has some type of element of emotional abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
When doing these things to you, they're going to affect you emotionally. So you're going to be experiencing emotional abuse or verbal abuse,
Absolutely.
putting you down, calling you names, making you feel less than, things like that can be considered emotional and verbal abuse. And like I said, those are just some of the more common types of abuse. You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
things that I've heard about as far as religion, you know, forcing you to change your
Mm-hmm.
religions, not allowing you to go to worships and things like that. That can be considered religious abuse. It's not something that is exactly quantified as far as statistics go, but it's absolutely a thing. So, you know, there's so many different ways to be abusive. And one of the most important things in recognizing abuse is about recognizing the power and control, right? One person
Mm-hmm.
taking power and control over the other person in any way can be
Right.
considered abusive behavior.
Wow. That was a lot of information, Richard. So vital. So vital. I need to hear from some people in the chat. Were you guys aware of all the different types of abuse that Richard just mentioned? I need to know which one, if you knew them all, great. But if not, I need to know which one that you weren't aware of. I need to know which one that you weren't aware of. I'm going to go to the chat real quick. For some reason, it wasn't showing our chat, so everybody can't see them. So on Facebook, Micaiah says, wow, honestly, can say I never even thought of or considered financial abuse a thing.
Yeah,
Makes total sense.
absolutely.
I told you. I told you. Janelle, I told you. And I'm not going to do all the talking tonight. I'm just ad-libbing when I should be being quiet a lot. I'm like the amen corner. So Janelle says so many forms of manipulation. You hear that word a lot in the mental health arena, or when you have to go to certain counseling sessions or anything. If you're working in this arena or in this aspect in any type of way, you hear the word manipulation a lot.
Yeah.
So that is definitely great. Y'all see, I'm trying to do this without my glasses, and I just turned 50. It's not working. Yes, King, emotional abuse is still abuse. Knowledge is power, and always learning something new. Um, Real quick, Janelle says emotional abuse is really dangerous. Um, Elaborate on that a little bit, Richard.
Yes, I was gonna pick up on that one, so I'm glad you highlighted that one. So yes, that is really resonating with me because in my experience supporting folks and working with folks who have experienced abuse, I've heard time and time again
Mm-hmm.
that when you're experiencing physical abuse or someone gets out of in a relationship that's abusive, they're like the scars go away, I'm safe, I'm not looking over my shoulder anymore, but that emotional piece sticks with
Mm-hmm.
them for what feels like an eternity for years. Like
Absolutely.
after they're out of that relationship and they're still feeling safe, they're still second guessing themselves. They still
Mm-hmm.
have self-esteem. They still are dealing emotionally with all of the things and all of the ways that it's made them feel. So yeah, that emotional abuse is absolutely very dangerous, very hard to come back from. Not to say that it can't be. We can't heal through that and be happy and healthy after experiencing that. But I
Mm-hmm.
have definitely heard time and time again that that's one of the hardest things to move from is that emotional abuse and how it affects folks, for sure.
Absolutely. I believe a lot of times when someone experiences emotional abuse, they aren't fully aware of what's happening. They just maybe fall into a rut, or it might be one of those situations where they may be an isolator, or sometimes we consider ourselves a loner. We just want to be alone. We're an introvert, ambivert, whatever, and you're kind of internalizing what you've gone through and what you're going through, because you at that point you haven't necessarily grown through it. But unless you are aware, and unless you have this type of knowledge, or unless somebody shared alive on a social media platform one night and you just happened to click on it and gain some insight, you really don't know. You really don't know. So, Richard gave us some stats. I definitely want to read those, and then we're going to move on. Does anyone have any questions for us? Please place those in the chat if you have any questions while we cover these stats real quick. It's 1 in 3 women, and 1 in 7 men experience domestic violence in their lifetime. And I want to definitely say that 1 in 3 women is hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
It is it tugs at my heart because I was one of those women. And don't nobody get any ideas. It was a long time ago, because people will start saying stuff. It was a long time ago. It's been over 20 years since I was involved in domestic violence. So do not, try to make any assumptions. But the surprising fact is, and the thing that a lot of people leave out, is that men also experience domestic violence. Tell us about that, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, 1 in 7 men. It's not as common as in women. There are definitely power dynamics at play with gender. But that is not to say that men don't experience domestic violence. And from my experience, the hardest thing about being a male, or even, to totally open it up, someone who does not identify with a gender, right? Maybe someone
Mm-hmm.
is identify with male or female, but someone who is not female, identifying as a victim, one of the hardest things is being believed, people understanding, people caring, as well as getting resources and support when you
Mhm.
call the police or law enforcement because you're experiencing abuse. They look at you like, hey, you're a man, or you present as a man. This
Mhm.
isn't nothing serious. It's kind of like figure it out. Stop.
Right.
We don't have time for this, and it puts people into really difficult situations when they don't feel like they're believed, they don't feel like they're valued or cared about, and they don't have the same access to resources that a victim of a different gender may have.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Okay, so before we move on, we have Ace Kala. I hope I'm saying that right. Please forgive me if I'm not. Says some emotional abuse might be minimized by others because it's not physical, but it can really affect someone's mental health and self-esteem. You are absolutely correct. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And she also, I think this is a girl. She says, hope everyone knows your feelings are valid and you are valid. Your abuse is still abuse, and that matters. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Micaiah says emotional abuse really is very hard, especially when individuals consistently gaslight, always play victim. The older I get, the more I try to extend grace because, like you said, people internalize situations and don't necessarily know how to not pour on to others. Great combo, great combo. Okay, so um, I
So
wanted to. You have something to add, Rich?
yeah, so I was gonna say, if it's cool with you, before we dive deeper into the abuse, can we jump into healthy relationships? Because I think it's really important, if we're gonna talk about abuse, that we have to first understand what it means to be in a healthy relationship, how to be a healthy partner, and how to understand and identify healthy behaviors in other people. Because it's great and very purposeful to support people who are experiencing domestic violence, but I think the biggest impact can be if we can support people in being healthy themselves, as well as identifying when things are unhealthy, so that they don't end up in a situation where they are experiencing
That's
abuse.
right. That's right. So, Richard, that's where I was actually going.
Okay, great minds,
At
great
the
minds.
top, at the top of the page, at the top of the page. So, in all of that, did I miss what makes a healthy relationship? Did you say that?
Nope, we ain't talking about it yet.
Okay, let's go there because I
Nah,
think that's very important.
for sure, for
I
sure.
think that's very important.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so some of the key things to think about, elements that make a relationship healthy, right? We think about, I know for myself personally, before getting a lot of education, I thought about healthy relationships just means like my partner loves me, right? I love
Hmm.
my partner. It's a healthy relationship, right? But
Hmm.
there are very key elements that you can recognize in yourself, as well as the people that you come in contact with, as to whether or not it's healthy behavior. So at the top of my personal list of things that make a healthy relationship is communication. Number one, to me personally.
Absolutely.
And by communication, I mean honest and open communication, right? If something's bothering you, you can clearly tell your partner that. You can, not be defensive. You can share how you're feeling, what it is that's happening, and then y'all can work through it together. Of course, the other partner has to be healthy and be able to communicate with you as well.
Hmm.
Definitely takes two people. You can't do it by yourself. But I think communication for me is number one. No matter what you're going through, if you can talk it out and
Hmm.
understand and listen to understand, instead of listening to respond and be defensive and be right,
Key.
then
So
you
key.
can have a healthy relationship. The next thing on my list of important elements of a healthy relationship is going to be trust. And I have a question for you, Tawana. So when you think about trust, Do you think trust is given, or do you think trust is earned? And I pose that same question to everybody viewing. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Is trust given, or does someone have to earn that?
Okay, y'all. Richard has given us a question. Do you think trust is given or is trust earned? First, me personally, I think communication is number one as well. And I don't care if you are discussing it through tears, if I don't care what it is, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, you need to be able to, for your voice to be heard. You sometimes you have to have those difficult discussions. And if you can't have those difficult discussions with the person that you're supposed to be in an intimate relationship with, or even your mother, or even your brother or sister, communication is so vital. So it doesn't matter what relationship you're in. If you can't communicate with those people, if you can't trust each other enough to sit down and have a conversation, then there's not a lot that you have. And for me, Richard, I think we all, no, I'm speaking for me. I will give everyone a measure of trust.
Okay.
A measure of trust. Because I'm not going to put something else that someone did to me, or my past experiences, or when someone else did whatever, I'm not going to put that on you. But I'm also still going to have my guard up, because I don't, if I'm just getting to know you, or I just met you, and I don't care who it is, you still have to earn my trust. And I want to earn your trust. I don't want you to give me everything, because if I don't earn your trust, I'm not putting no work in.
Okay. Okay.
And let me see, did anybody else answer?
Yes, they did.
A says, I give it until is that trust is broken. Then bye-bye. Okay, we got the point there. Shirley says, I think that trust needs to be earned. So we have several different opinions. Janelle says, trust is given, but the older I get, there are boundaries.
Cool. Well, I appreciate y'all sharing your thoughts on trust, and I'm glad that there's a mix in there. So again, this is me speaking to you as an individual, my experiences, my education, things like that. So I understand, as far as like healthy relationships goes, that trust is something that is given. It's not earned, right? And the reason why I say that in my thought process personally behind that is like, if we think about going into a relationship, you're meeting someone new. As you mentioned, a lot of folks go into relationships with previous experiences at the forefront of their mind, right? So that causes them to be a little bit guarded, to not have as much trust. But I challenge you to think about how that could potentially set you up for failure in that relationship, because someone's coming into this relationship trying to get to know you. You're establishing yourself with each other. And if you're not trusting of them, then that means you're questioning everything that they're doing, right? If they say, oh, I was here, in the back of your mind, you're saying, were they really there? Were they really not? You might be making assumptions. You might be making accusations. And then you're leading yourself into kind of a toxic environment, right? We don't want to be accusing people. We don't want to be thinking that they're lying, things like that. Now, if you're in a relationship and you give somebody trust, and for example, we say we're going to be in a committed relationship, and then, someone cheats or steps outside of that relationship, then yes, trust can be broken. Absolutely. And it takes time to fix that. And, you have to discuss what you need as an individual to be able to move past that. But even then, we don't want to hold that over somebody's head. If we choose to stay in that relationship, then we have to give them that trust back if we want to have a healthy relationship. If they keep breaking it, then you see a pattern. They're not going to change. That's going to keep happening. It's your choice to stay in that relationship, but we can't hold that over their head. We can't, use that to control them. Because you did this, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to be respectful, things like that. So from my perspective, I think the healthiest thing to do, again, as an individual, my perspective, is to give the trust and allow the space for someone to show you that they're a healthy person. And if something happens, then you move from there.
Right.
So, yeah.
I don't know why my son decided to call me every night. And he knows what I'm doing. But so, and I based on the fact that all of that that untrustworthy stuff takes so much energy that I'm not giving it. So I feel like if I got to do all that, then I don't have any trust in you. So we have a question from Instagram over here. They were fussing at me because I forgot to turn the camera around, so it was just black over here.
Oh no.
So give me a second. Let's see if we have this question. It says, what happens when you have trust in a person, then you start to lose that trust in them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, I mean, I think it's about, as an individual, analyzing that situation. What is it about that situation that made you lose trust in that person? Because they could have certainly done something, right? They could have cheated. They could have lied to you. They could have, stolen from you. Whatever that looks like to break that trust, and those are super valid concerns. And in that case, you want to communicate with them, tell them how that made you feel, if you're comfortable and safe to do that, of course. And then figure out, is this something that I can move forward from, right? That's an honest question that you have to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Because if we say we can move forward from it, then we have to be able to be in a place to reestablish that trust with them. If we can't reestablish that trust, but we stay in that relationship, we're potentially creating a toxic environment. And then the other thing that it could be is it something that's internally going on with me, right? Because if I was mistrusting from the beginning, and I just seen something that reminded me of something that happened to me in the past with a different person, and now I'm not trusting them anymore, then we're basically painting them out to be the same as the other people that we've dealt with or had relationships with, when we don't know that to be fact, right? Just because somebody didn't come home and said they work late, our ex used to do that all the time when they were cheating. So now I don't trust you anymore, but you might actually be working and being honest with me, right? So we have to figure out, is this internal? Is this my own thing that I have going on? Or is this actually something that you're doing to me? And then make a decision there as to what's best for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So Richard, with that being said, do abusers change?
Ooh.
I put you in the hot seat. I put you in the hot seat. I'm so sorry.
So that, no, I appreciate it. That's a question that I really like answering. It's a really complex answer, but I love to answer it. So like I said, I've worked a very long time, and I'll share this piece about myself without going into too much detail to me. I lost a sister to domestic violence, right? And from there, I immediately started a job working where I was a batterers intervention and prevention facilitator. So I was literally put into a room weeks after losing my sister with 10 to 20 people who are identified as abusive and sent here by court or coming on their own or whatever that may look like. And I had a real animosity and a disdain for these people because I seen them as the people that hurt my sister, right? But I think it was a great experience because it allowed me the time and the space to get to know people for more than one thing. So to answer your question, can abusers change? Absolutely. But the sad reality of that is it's a behavior that is extremely difficult to change. Abuse is, like I said earlier, it's about power and control. It's a way of feeling. It's a way of thinking. It's a feeling of entitlement and privilege. And it it's something that's developed over a period of time as you're growing up, seeing things in your environment, messages that you're receiving. You formulate this. It's like being right-handed or left-handed, almost not that deeply ingrained, but it becomes a part of who someone is. They may not even recognize that they're behaving in that way, or that they have those kind of characteristics. So yes, you can change. It is very difficult to change. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of looking introspectively, and probably most importantly, it takes acknowledging that the behaviors and the things that you're doing are not okay, and genuinely wanting to change them and wanting to be a better person for yourself. Not because you want your partner back and it's the only way is if you prove that you cannot do this thing, not because your mom told you to, not because your parole officer or the courts told you to. You have to genuinely want that for yourself, and you have to recognize it and accept that this is something that I need to work on. And that's why it's so hard to change, because a lot of people have a difficulty with accepting I am someone who abuses people. You know what I mean?
Why do you think that is?
I think like a lot of things, acknowledging some of our downfalls, some of our weaknesses, some of our vulnerabilities, some of the behaviors and things that we have that we don't like. It's not easy to be reflective and see those not so positive parts of yourself. I think that can go for anything from, substance abuse to whatever it may be. We all have things that may not be the most positive about ourselves. So it's recognizing that and taking accountability. And accountability is not easy.
Right. I might be getting ready to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm gonna say that like my uncle says, I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but do you think it may have anything to do with the fact that they have something going on internally?
I think that can absolutely be an ingredient in the recipe. For sure. I don't want to minimize it to say that, for any one person, there's one thing that causes abuse, because it can be a multitude of things. In my time supporting Batterers intervention programs, one thing that I thought was really helpful and helped our program to be successful was taking a very holistic approach, right? Not just coming to people and talking about, hey, you're abusive, you're displaying these behaviors, what do we need to do to change that? But instead focusing on them as a whole individual. What are the things that you want to focus on as an individual as a whole? What kind of things do you want to do better at in life? What kind of things cause you stress? What kind of ways do you want to grow, right? There's a lot of different external and internal factors that can cause someone to act out and behave in the way that an abusive person does. It can be their own personal traumas that they have not sorted through, and this is the way that they're expressing the things that they're feeling. Or these can be things that they've seen and it's the only thing that they know and they think it's the right way. So there's so many things to think about and to kind of open up and look into when you're talking about changing.
And the reason why, Richard, I say that is I was a foster parent for a little over 10 years. And I also worked in the mental health field for a while when I called myself going to leave corporate America. But a lot of clients and even a lot of foster kids, sometimes they'll tell you in their plans that, they train us on the fact that some of these kids or some of these even adults that have gone into the or stay into the system, they act out because the way that they act out, I should say, is something that was done to them. And so that's the reason why I say, or I ask whether it may be something internally, because you hear a lot that molesters were molested or abusers were abused or something like that. And it's a learned behavior for them. So that's how it comes comes to play. And so that's why that came to mind for me, because it has to be something. And this is for me. This is my opinion and from my experience. I'm not putting this on anybody else. This is all Tawana. Once I got some knowledge and learned a little bit about all of this, I would say to myself, there has to be something that's going on. And often I look at folks' actions, even if we're not in this arena, because most of the time we deal with stuff and we keep it all in. We don't discuss it. We don't let anybody know. We just deal with it, and it starts to affect us in so many ways. And I just think it's so unfortunate that we have to, for lack of a better word, suffer alone, because, and that's my whole goal. I know a lot of people are like, why is she doing this? And what's the purpose? And that's fine. If that's the way you feel, then you're not part of my audience. But you're not part of my viewers. You're not even part of my tribe. Because in any and everything I do, because I was that one that always went through pretty much everything alone. I was fine with being a loner. And it went, and a lot of times when you go through stuff alone, it's so difficult. It's so much more difficult because you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the information, you don't have resources. If you have a community or if you have connections, Rich might have a resource that I don't know about, but I know I need it. And I may say one thing and it clicks. She needs that, or she needs this, or she needs that. That's my whole goal. That's my whole goal. I just want to be the person or the connector to the person that I needed. Even from a teenager to now. I want to be, I want to educate, inform. I want to have so much discernment. I always have to end up going to church, don't I, Rick? I'm all about helping people. I'm just about helping people. And I'm not a selfish person. And I know that there are so many people that are in the same space or spaces that I was, that may need some help.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to try to do this without my glasses. Abusers generally have been abused. Oh, I see. I ain't even look over here. And their abuser never accepted accountability for their actions. That's a good one, Tamika. Janelle says the mindset is my question. Oh, that might have been on what we said before.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is a good question. Let's see. Alfonso says, can there be multiple abusers in a relationship?
Great question. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. I've seen that one. I'm gonna give you a condensed response because I see our time and I know there's so much more that we want to talk about. So I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm always open for a follow-up so we can make sure everybody get all this information.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer that question, essentially no, there cannot be two abusers in one relationship. It's what is called the myth of mutual abuse, right? You hear people
say
talk
that
about
again, Richard?
the myth of mutual abuse.
Ah.
You might hear people saying like, oh, we both hit each other, we're both abusive, we both do this, we both cheat. whatever that may look like, right? So that's not both people are abusive, which typically and almost always happening is that one person is abusive and the other person is trying to get some power back in that relationship, right? Because again, abuse is all about power and control. One person having more power over the other. So if one person has more power over than the other, that's abuse. If neither partner has more power over the other, that's not abuse, technically, by definition. So one person is vying to try to get back abuse, or one person is responding to that abusive person by utilizing the means that they have, which is sometimes fighting back, which is sometimes, if you're cheating on me, then I'm gonna start stealing your money, because I feel like I have no power, no ability to make you stop doing these hurtful things. So I start doing things that are not healthy either. But that doesn't make you both the abusive partners. And a lot of times, early on in the relationship, there will be like a power struggle where you'll see a lot of unhealthy behavior from both sides because somebody's trying to establish power over the other one. And which is toxic, and y'all just need to split ways, but I ain't gonna tell you what to do.
I totally get it. That makes a lot of sense because you're just going back and forth with each other and pretty much almost doing a tit for tat.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. How do we get young people to understand the different abuses? What do you think?
Conversations, have these conversations, and as younger or older young people that we are with these younger young people around us, find ways to have that conversation. It's super important. Talk to them about what the relationships look like. Talk to them about what it means to be healthy. Talk to them about the importance of communication, respect, equality, all of those things, and try to find new and creative ways that fit for that individual young person that they're going to receive it, right? One thing that I know I'm super guilty of, and I think a lot of us are, is that we talk to our youth in a way that is very authoritative. It's like, I know this, you don't know. You don't tell me, this is what I'm telling you. You know what I mean? Create the spaces where they feel comfortable to talk to you so that we can really have these conversations. They can really listen and they can give feedback and they can share their thoughts. And we just got to not be judgmental. We got to, hear them out. We can relate to them, empathize, but, know that they're going to do what they want to do. They're not going to listen to us just because we said it. But we can plant those seeds and we can share those things with them that when they're out doing what they want to do, in the back of their mind, they're going to be saying, yeah, I know, my big homie Rich, my cousin over there, was telling me the other day about like somebody who doesn't know how to communicate with me and just yells all the time is not healthy. So when they see that happen, that's playing in the back of their mind.
So that takes me back. What was the thought that I had where you said listen to what did you say? Listen to. That's right. That's you know I just turned 50. Listen to comprehend, not to respond. And I know we learned that in some parenting classes as a foster parent. But it worked also for our kids because if your kids feel like they can't talk to you or they can't get anything out, sorry, I got to clean my glasses, or if they can't come to you and talk to you, or if they can't get anything out, then they're going to build a wall. And they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to have that rapport built with you. I don't care if you're their parent or not. They're not going to come and sit down and talk with you. They're just not going to do it. They're going to go and talk to someone else that's going to give them the opportunity to talk. You can't overtalk them. You can't not give them the opportunity to let their voice be heard.
And you know what else about that I want to say? It's like when I hear young ones around me, and I think this is true for a lot of us, talking about the things that they're doing, it's no different than the things that we did when we were their age. You know what I mean? And we look at them with these really like, are you crazy? That's insane. Why would you do that? knowing dang well that we done
act
did
like we didn't do
we
nothing.
kind of did it in a different way. They got these new, technology and phones and apps and all that
Uh-huh.
stuff. We was out doing the same thing, just in a different
Exactly.
way. So, being able to
Probably
show
worse.
that compassion, being able to empathize and be real and be like, I understand where you come from. I know why you want to have fun. I know why you want to do this. Let me just share my experience with you, and you can take it, leave it. But I just want to know that I shared that with you so that hopefully you can use my examples to do something better than I did.
Exactly. Okay, Rich, you think we're gonna get some more out? This is good. I can y'all give us a few more minutes? Please let us know if we can give you if you can give us a few more minutes. I don't want to I know we probably will have to bring Rich back because there's so much more information that needs to be given. But the one thing I want to get out real quick, they say keep going in all caps. We helping folks out here in these internet streets.
And keep sharing, y'all. Keep sharing.
Yes, keep sharing because they can chime in where we are and go back and watch. But yeah, and Alfonso says we're here. Micaiah says take your time, honey. Janelle says come on through. Okay. And Tamara says come on. If the expert is down, I am too. Okay. So, Rich, how do we support a loved one that is experiencing any of those types of abuses that you mentioned?
Yes. Great transition, because very similar to like we were just talking about when we talk about, supporting and having conversations with the youth. Very similarly, we want to recognize when someone is experiencing abuse. We know that abuse now. We know now that abuse is about power and control, right? So one of the main things that we do, and also the worst thing that we can do, is to approach them from a place of this is what you need to do, right? When somebody comes to you you care about and they're telling you these things about what their partner did to them, 9 times out of 10, the first thing we're gonna say is leave them. You don't need that. You're better than that. Blah blah blah. Things like that. So essentially what we're doing is we're contributing to taking power and control away from them. We want to support and empower their autonomy. We want them to make the decisions for themselves, and we want to be there to support them, remind them how important they are, remind them that they are an amazing person, they deserve to be treated with respect, all of those things. But we don't want to tell them what to do. We want to make sure that if they're comfortable coming to us and talking to us about the things that are going on, that we cherish and we maintain and grow that space so that they'll keep coming to us, keep talking to us, keep sharing what's going on. And if they trust us, then we have the opportunity to talk to them about, hey, these are some options for you. Here's a resource. Here's a local domestic violence shelter. I'm not saying you should go there, but hey, if things are crazy in that house and you don't have nowhere to go, call me.
Right.
Call this shelter. Call this place. Do what you need to do. You know what I mean? But we're empowering them to make those decisions for themselves. And another piece that's really important when supporting someone who's experiencing abuse is recognizing that there are a lot of barriers to getting out of that relationship. Create so many barriers, right? First off, and sometimes the biggest and hardest one, is that this is somebody that they're in a relationship with. This is somebody that they love. They might have been with for 6 months, or years. This person wasn't always that way. So it's very easy for us on the outside. We don't love this person. We may not even give 2 shits about this person. We can say, just leave them, right? Because that's easy for us. I don't care if I never see them again.
That's right.
But Tawana, you may love this person. This person might be the father of your kids. They may be the apple of your eye. And just because they're doing these things to you does not mean that you can just be like, okay, it's over. I never want to see you again. It's not that easy. So recognizing that and understanding that and supporting from a place of understanding that it's not as easy for them as it may be for us to think is really important. And like I said, finding those creative ways to make sure that they know that you're there for them. A couple quick, easy things that you might be able to talk to them about is like, hey, if things ever get really bad, can you text me a certain emoji so that I know that means call 911, or I know that means come over, Or can I, if you're being physically assaulted, can you take pictures when that happens and send it to me? I won't do anything with it, but if you ever need them to get a protective order, I'll have them saved for you, so you ain't got to worry about your partner finding them in your phone or something like that. So there's very creative, small things that we can do that can make a huge impact without making that person feel like we're being judgmental, we're telling them what to do, because you're going to completely lose them, and then you're not even going to know what's going on anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's so good, Richard. That is Instagram says that's good information, because these are things that we can take and literally save someone's life. Like
Absolutely.
literally save someone's life. Hi from Albania.
Okay, Albania.
We told you we was going international. I told y'all.
We there now.
We there now. So actually, I know many people that haven't experienced any type of abuse themselves. They aren't aware of like the warning signs, or even to see when they can, when it's actually happening. So these tips and things that you can do to support someone are actually good, because they'll be able to utilize that if it ever comes up. Because a lot of times when we're working off of adrenaline, things come back to our remembrance. So if you are not taking notes, I hope you're taking mental notes, where we can help the next person and be able to save a life, because there are so many people. Rich, do we have the do you happen to have, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, do you happen to know the current stat for the amount of deaths that happen due to domestic violence? I don't have that currently. I know I had it a couple of years ago, but Google is always a friend. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on that topic?
Yeah. So death, lethality around domestic violence, man, it's hard to even think about. But I don't have the exact stats on like this year or like monthly, the amount of deaths and things like that. But yes, Google is definitely your friend. All of that stuff should be very easy to find. But what I can say about lethality, a couple quick things to leave y'all with that I think will be really helpful. In your own relationship, if you're experiencing abuse, if you know someone else is experiencing abuse and you're supporting them, things to be aware of that really highlight the potential for lethality is if the abusive partner owns or has access to firearms, the chances of someone dying in that relationship increase by 500%. 500%.
Wow.
Additionally, some things that indicate there's a high lethality risk is when there's sexual abuse involved. If there's strangulation involved, the chances of someone dying are really, really high as well. Also, if there are children that are outside of that relationship. So if a female in an abusive relationship has children from a prior relationship, that can really contribute to lethality. And probably to me, one of the most important, because it relates to my personal experiences with domestic violence, is that most lethalities occur within the first 2 weeks of leaving an abusive partner. So when someone is leaving, it is extremely dangerous, right? So make sure that folks know that, right? Sometimes we're thinking, oh, my partner's never hit me. They're just every while they do this thing or they talk down to me. And then when you try to leave, you're taking all that power and control away from them. And that is the most lethal time. There have been plenty of situations where someone has never been physically abused, and then they try to leave and they are murdered because that person is losing that power over that person. So it's very important that if you are leaving an abusive relationship, someone you know is leaving an abusive relationship, you want to think very, very carefully about how you do that so that you can do it as safely as possible. So yeah, that's what I'll say to lethality. You know, those are some really, really important pieces. The most important thing in a relationship, leaving an abusive relationship, is staying safe. So always make that your priority.
Exactly. And we got facts over here on Instagram. Facts, absolute facts. I can speak from experience myself. Um, Definitely speak from experience. On that, those are the most dangerous times. As a teenager, I talk about the situation in my book, or my first book. As a teenager, that those are the things that happened with me when I tried to leave. And first of all, I should have been listening to my mama. And at 17, not trying to be in no one, long lasting, I'm in love relationship. But it happened, and it can definitely affect you. And if you don't deal with it, it can linger on. Uh, Last question, off the ringer, Richard, and we have some comments that I definitely want to. Make sure that everybody hears, and then we're gonna not keep you guys too long, okay? So, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought, and it was a good question. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, okay. So hopefully it comes back. Okay, so Tamara said earlier, let me see what that said. That was when we asked about the children. I think this is a very, very important comment that we need to share with anyone. It says, if you start the kids when they are young and provide a good environment for them, that trusting environment, that listening environment that we spoke of, it sets a standard for them. So you don't then end up with an out of control teenager that doesn't want to talk to you because you've never listened to them when they were, younger or an adolescent. She says, lead with understanding and not with ridicule, because y'all know that we did the same things that they did or doing or whatever. Not that we're condoning it. We just know now, we know how our parents felt. When we were out there doing our thing or whatever. So the kids is so iffy in this day and age. Our kids' lives are in such danger because this world is so different, so much more dangerous than it was when we were younger. And I just think we have to come at them with a different perspective, and I guess just love on them a little bit different. That's my opinion. Okay, so let's see. I think I covered as many comments that I could. Micaiah says, wow, 500%. Was that a comment or did you make that?
That's in relation to the increase in danger when there's firearms present. 500%.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. So when I checked with Mr. Google over here on how many people die due to domestic violence each year, it says 4,000 women die each year. That's 4,000. However, it says more than 30,000 deaths a year worldwide. So I maybe that 4,000 is
United
the
States.
U.S.
Yeah.
It also says 18,800 homicides. So that's a big difference. So it's homicides versus they might die due to injuries.
Gotcha. Yeah. That was
Right.
something I meant to mention with the strangulation, just for awareness, right? So we know that strangulation is a very high lethality risk. One thing that completely shocked me when I learned it is that if you are being strangled or choked to where you're losing oxygen, right? It's a very common tactic in physically abusive relationships. You can actually like survive the incident. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to go get help. They're not, ready to get medical help or law enforcement help and things like that. But you can actually die up to 2 weeks later from that strangulation, because it can cause like a blood clot to kind of tear and be roaming through your body in that time.
Wow.
And a week later, it can hit your heart or your lungs or your brain or something like that and still cause lethality. So if ever you are in a situation where you're being strangled or choked, or someone make sure to give them that information. It's very important that you go to the emergency room, get checked out, go to your doctor, and make sure that you're okay. Just because you survived that night doesn't mean that everything's okay internally. So just want to share that.
See, I told you it could save a life. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. That's very important. That's very important. Tamara says, guys, if you are not taking notes, you need to pass on this replay for the people. For the people. Any last questions before we let you guys get some sleep on tonight? We're here to help you. That's the purpose. We want to provide you with this knowledge. We want to provide you with insight, wisdom, resources, as well as life-changing information. Any more questions before we head out tonight?
And if there are not any more questions, one thing I did want to leave y'all with on a kind of a positive note, we talking about abuse and really heavy stuff. One thing that is super important, Tamara said, that's called partial strangulation. It's a felony in 48 states. Yes, right.
My God.
Don't get thrown under the jail. Keep your hands off.
Wisdom.
So yeah, one thing to keep in mind, we're talking about a really heavy topic, abuse. Just to end on a lighter note, a happier note. One thing to be mindful of, and it's super important if you're in an abusive relationship, someone is in an abusive relationship, is to take care of yourself, right? Self-care. It doesn't got to be huge things. If you're not able to get out of that relationship right away or even ever, like focus on ways that you can support yourself, your resiliency. Know that you are amazing. Know that you're valued. You are, special. You deserve to be here. You deserve to be treated with respect. And find small ways that you can take care of yourself, right? To be able to get up every day and continue to fight the good fight. That could be a bubble bath, listening to music. One thing that is super important and why it's so important that we know how to support people is that a support system increases the likelihood that someone is going to be able to take the steps to get out of that situation. People who have no support are going to feel hopeless. They're going to feel like there's no one to turn to. They don't know what's going on. There's no one to help them identify that. So being able to show up for your people requires you to be able to take care of yourself. For people to show up for themselves requires them to be able to take care of themselves. So take it one day at a time, take care of you, find small ways to love yourself and to keep yourself feeling good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone say hello to the puppy.
Hey, hi, Miss.
I want to say, Rich, thank you so much. This is amazing. I am so grateful that you were able to come on and share with everyone tonight. I know that more than myself got a lot out of this. We appreciate your knowledge. We appreciate your time and sharing with us. We definitely want to invite you back in the future because I'm sure that there's more information, resources, and all that we'll be able to share with others. And guys, remember, share this out, even if it's after words. They can still watch the replay. They can still get this information. If you're watching on replay, please hashtag replay so that we know that you are here. If you have any questions for Rich or myself after we log off tonight, please don't hesitate to put those questions in the chat. Inbox us if you need to ask those questions privately. We're here for you. If we don't have the answers, if we don't have the information on hand for you, we'll definitely find it for you, or get some resources to assist you and help you. Take care of yourselves. Like we said, make sure that you know that you are important, that you're worth it, and we are here to assist and help save one life at a time. We ask that you go over. We've been displaying Rich's information. You can connect with him on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as YouTube. This information is actually, I'm going to go back and update it in the description so that you'll be able to click on it. So please do go over and follow Rich and his family and support them as well. If you want to support little old me, we need to get this YouTube channel up some more so that we can get this word out a little more. So if you want to check out Tawana Lorraine on YouTube and give us a follow, I would appreciate that very, very much. And like I said, we'll be back next Tuesday with another guest, more information, more knowledge, more support, more hope, and we're here for you. All right? If you need us, let us know. Facebook says, thank you guys so much. Thank you. And so does Instagram. Thank you, Rich and T. Love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We love you guys too. YouTube says hello. Thank you guys so much. They said, where's the wedding vlog? They're all off topic. Yeah. But
that's my R&P family. Shout out to the R&P family. Gang.
The fam is in the house. Thank you, fam, for tuning in with us tonight. Share this live, fam. Share this live. Okay, guys, y'all go get some sleep tonight. We'll see you back. Come back next Tuesday and hear some more information. All right? Have a great night.